I can still hear the click of her heels that night, uneven, shaky, like each step carried a confession. It was after midnight when Emily pushed through the front door, laughing at something that clearly wasn't funny anymore. I was on the couch, the TV muted, pretending to watch while waiting for that door to open. Some part of me already knew the night would not end quietly. She stopped cold when she realized I was awake. "Hey," she said, stretching the word like she needed extra seconds to think.
Didn't expect you to still be up.
Her lipstick was smeared, her blouse misbuttoned, her perfume mixed with a sharp trail of whiskey. "I couldn't sleep," I answered. My voice stayed calm, though my heart slammed hard enough to shake my ribs. "How was the party?" "It was fine," she blurted, tossing her purse onto the table. "Just long. You know how work events are." I nodded slowly. "Who brought you home?" For a moment, she didn't respond. She twisted her earring, eyes dropping to the floor. "My boss, he lives close. It was just a ride." "Daniel, don't start." That was the first time I noticed how defensive she'd become. Like every simple question was a trap. I wanted to trust her, but something in her voice made that impossible. I stood. "I'm not starting anything," I said.
Just asking.
She brushed past me. The laughter gone. "You're always asking. Always watching. It's tiring." I watched her walk down the hallway, the same hallway where we used to steal kisses before work, where we laughed about burnt toast and missed alarms. That night her footsteps sounded strange, like someone else was moving inside her skin. When I followed later, she sat on the edge of the bed, fully dressed, staring at nothing. I sat next to her, close enough to feel the distance between us. I whispered. "If something's wrong, just tell me. I can handle the truth." She didn't look up. "Not everything has to be a disaster, Dan." Her voice shook just enough to make the lie obvious. We sat in silence after that. The quiet wasn't peaceful. It had edges, sharp and cold between us. I stayed awake that night, listening to her breathing next to me. Too fast, too shallow. In the morning, she was distant. She left early, saying she had a meeting. No kiss, no smile, just the door closing behind her.
Clean.
Final. Over the next week, she was always gone. Late-night texts, long hours, unusual rides. The tiny things that used to mean nothing suddenly felt like alarms. I didn't confront her yet. I wanted to believe there was a reason that wouldn't destroy me. But on Thursday, when she walked in wearing a scent that wasn't mine, something inside me changed. I asked again, softer this time. "Was it worth it?" Her eyes lifted quick. "What? The risk?" I said the lies. She laughed, not cruel, but scared. "You're being paranoid."
Maybe you should talk to someone about that.
"I am." I said, "I'm talking to you." And her expression shifted then. Not guilt, not rage, just a flicker of fear. The kind people feel when they realize the game is finished. I didn't shout. I didn't accuse. I simply stood there and let the silence speak, because once the truth steps into the room, it doesn't need applause. That night, I packed a small bag. Nothing dramatic, just enough for a few days away. She didn't ask where I was going. Maybe she already knew. Maybe she just didn't care. As I pulled the door shut behind me, I realized something simple and devastating. Sometimes love doesn't end with screaming or broken glass. Sometimes it dies quietly. The way laughter fades when the music cuts off. And in that quiet, you finally hear the truth you've been avoiding. I checked into a cheap motel on the edge of town. The kind of place where no one asks questions and every stranger has something to hide. The sheets smelled faintly of bleach, and the steady hum of the air conditioner was the only sound in the room. I sat on the bed staring at my phone, scrolling through messages that didn't feel like mine anymore. The good mornings, the jokes, the selfies, pieces of a life that suddenly felt distant. I didn't delete them. I just stared, letting the weight of what we used to be settle in my chest. By the second day, she still hadn't called. No message, no where are you, nothing. That silence told me everything I had refused to admit. You can't lose someone who has already walked out of their heart. On the third day, I went home. Not because I forgave her, but because I needed to see it. The truth up close. The house looked unchanged, but the warmth was gone. Her shoes by the door, her mug in the sink. Same habits, no meaning. She was in the kitchen pretending to check emails. When she saw me, she stopped. "You came back," she whispered. "I had to pick up some things." She nodded, her eyes flicking toward my half-empty dresser. "You don't have to make this worse than it already is." The way she said it, calm, practiced, told me she'd already made peace with losing me. Maybe long before that office party. Was it him? I asked. Her mouth opened like she wanted to deny it, but no words came. Just a long, shaking breath. And in that breath, I found every answer I needed. I didn't yell. I didn't throw anything. I didn't ask why. I just said, "Okay." She blinked hard. "That's it." "Yeah," I whispered. "That's it." Because what else is there to say? Love doesn't survive interrogation. When trust dies, there's nothing left to save. That night, I packed the rest of my things. I took my books, my tools, the photo albums she never cared about. She stood in the doorway, silent, watching me sort through the remains of our life. When I reached the front door, she finally spoke. "Dan, are you just going to walk out?" I turned back. "I'm not walking away, Em. I'm just done pretending I didn't already fall." Her eyes filled, but no tears came. That was the cruelest part, watching her try to summon a grief she no longer felt. I drove into the night with no destination, just the road and the quiet hum of my life resetting itself. Every mile felt lighter. Painful, yes, but lighter. It took weeks for the ache to shrink into something manageable. Grief has its own rhythm. Some days it whispers, some days it screams. But eventually, you stop expecting the door to open. You stop imagining her name on your phone. Months later, I heard she left her job. Something about rumors becoming too loud. I didn't ask for details. The truth had already finished its work. Sometimes I still wonder if she regrets it. The lies, the distance, the person she became when no one was watching. But I don't stay in that thought long because regret is a prison and I've already served my sentence. Now I wake early. I make coffee in silence. The world feels sharper but honest. I've learned that peace isn't about fixing what shattered. It's learning you no longer need to. The night she stumbled home from that office party didn't just end our marriage. It ended the illusion that love alone can bind two people together. It taught me something simpler, truer. That sometimes losing someone isn't the tragedy. Sometimes it's the freedom